under federal Indian law, a full-blood Indian in history, and even now, because I don't think the law has changed, a full-blood Indian is considered mentally incompetent. So when they had allotments and they had land and timber, a full-blood couldn't sell their timber or land because they were considered mentally incompetent. So, but if they could prove that they, by an affidavit or a blood roll change, they could sell their land if they proved that they had white blood. So many Indians signed affidavits saying they were mixed bloods when they were actually full bloods because their families were starving. And then they sold their land and they sold their timber with an affidavit saying they were a mixed blood. Well, what that did is it affected all their relatives and descendants henceforth. Well, what happened here in White Earth in 1910, there was a blood roll, the John Hinton roll, and they found 1,000 full bloods here. Then in so John Hinton was transferred out to Fond du Lac, and then because those 1,000 full bloods were sitting on 160 acres each of valuable land here at White Earth, oftentimes white pine, red pine, sometimes prairie farmland, they hired a new Indian agent named Ransom J. Powell, who was an attorney on retainer with the lumber companies. He did the blood roll over, and he found that, according to his investigation and records, that 900 of the full bloods were actually mixed bloods. And it went to, that was in 1913, then it went to federal court in 1920, and October 20th of 1920, the Judge Page Morris, a former lumber company crony, a federal judge now in Fergus Falls, ruled that the official timber and land roll for White Earth shall be the Ransom J. Powell Lumber Company attorney blood roll, and for the sake of timber and land, and that for the sake of enrollment, the blood roll shall be the John Hinton roll. But in history, the White Earth Reservation, Indian Health Service, Bureau of Indian Affairs, Minnesota Chippewa Tribe have interchangeably used both blood rolls. So every tribal member at White Earth, or related to White Earth band members, are subject to possible error and erroneous calculation. Sure. So, and as a result of this, well, then they brought in Dr. Albert Jenks from the University of Minnesota and Dr. Ailes Herdlicka from the Smithsonian in Washington. Both these gentlemen were anthropologists, and both of them were full-blood experts. And what they did is they came to White Earth, they measured our feet, they drew our feet on paper bags, basically, and they claimed they could tell a full blood from a mixed blood by the size of your feet. Then they examined the straight hair or curly hair, and they could tell a full blood. And then at that time in anthropology, they used calipers and they measured our craniums, because the theory at that time was the larger the cranium, the more gray matter inside, therefore the more intelligence. And then they measured the cheekbones, and then the ultimate test, they took and scratched us with their fingernail in a very coarse, hard manner on the chest here. And they claimed the ultimate test was how fast the blood came to the surface of the skin, that was the ultimate test of who was the full blood mix. And all of these things got entered into federal court as evidence. And then also they had a continuum of civilization where they checked the pigmentation of your skin. The darker your skin is, the closer you are to monkeys and animals. The lighter your skin is, the closer you are to civilized man. And this was all part of their study here at White Earth, used in federal court by a federal judge. And to this day, that's why the official blood roll for timber and land is the Ransom J. Powell 1920 roll, and for enrollment's sake blood roll, it's the 1910 roll. And that's still, they're both legal documents here at White Earth. The government knows this, and that even so, they passed WELSA, and there were 7 federal investigations done here at White Earth, and the government knew there was fraud here. They knew that there was illegal tampering with the blood rolls, with the allotments. The Indian agents were buying the allotments up and selling them under alias names. And then the Indians who come and griped about that said that they were doing it on all the reservations. The Indian agents were buying the lands up from our elders and marketing them, laundering them through alias names in the county, various county recorder's office. So it was happening at Leech Lake and Fond du Lac and the other places too.